Hello, students, and welcome once again to Sociology of Gender. This is coming up on week 9 here, so we're at week 9, and we're going to be talking about gender, education, and science. So let's get this party going. Here we go. So most of what I have is taken from these authors about gender inequality in education. Claudia Bachman, Thomas DePreet, and Anne McDaniel in their 2008 article, Gender Inequalities in Education, and Thomas A. DePreet and Claudia Bachman, Gender Disparities in Educational Attainment in the New Century, Trends, Causes, and Consequences. So it looks like Bachman and DePreet are like the big researchers here in sociology. Okay, so when we're looking at gender in institutions, most of the time we see, great inequality with women and girls, basically suffering more inequality. Okay, in education, women have made great strides. Okay, women and girls have made great strides here. Okay. It used to be that men had higher educational levels than women. Now that has changed. Women have overtaken men in many areas of education. So first of all, here's some facts. First, let's look at kindergarten through high school. Okay. Boys are more likely to delay the starting of school, okay, and more likely to repeat a grade, okay. 60% of those delaying entry into school are boys, and 66% of those repeating kindergarten are boys. Okay, so when making age-based comparisons, girls have the advantage, but when making grade-based comparisons, boys have the advantage. Boys have the advantage when making grade-based comparisons because you're having more boys who are older and like a year older, so because they're more likely to repeat a grade. Okay, that practice of delaying the start of school is called academic redshirting. Okay, so that's a fancy little term. Test scores. Boys have higher test scores in math, and girls have higher test scores in reading. About this test scores in math, some researchers are saying that that's changing. That some have said that girls now have equal test scores as boys. Some researchers say that there's still a discrepancy with boys having higher test scores in math. It probably depends upon the test that they're looking at and the complexity of the problems and who's doing what kind of test. Okay, so, but yeah, boys have higher test scores in math and girls have higher test scores in reading. Generally, though, that may be changing. Girls get better grades, and they have been getting better grades since the 1950s. Boys are overrepresented in reading disabilities, antisocial behavior, developmental disabilities, attention disorders, dyslexia, stuttering, and delayed speech. And there's a connection also between like this kind of antisocial behavior, as they call it, and reading scores, like, behavioral kinds of problems and things. Probably because like it takes, to read, you got to be able to sit still, things. So, at least like learning to read, I should say. Girls now have once lagged behind boys in math in terms of the number of courses and the intensity of courses, but it has narrowed. They now have equal access, they get better grades, okay? Girls have equal access and get better grades. Girls also are more likely to take bio and chem. They are more likely to take AP courses. They are more likely to be involved in extracurricular activities. Okay. So why is this? This is the question. Why is it that boys do better in kindergarten through high school? Some explanations include that, well, that girls and boys have equal aptitude for math and science, in spite of what former Harvard professor Lawrence Summers once said, that that males were superior in these areas. Lawrence Summers is like a bigwig in economics, by the way, and the former Harvard president. You can look this up if you like. So there's something called stereotype threat. This is like that's the fear of conforming a stereotype about a group to which one belongs. So if there's this fear that if you're a member of a group that is stereotyped, that you will the fear of confirming the stereotype leads to lower performance. Okay. The fear of conforming to a stereotype about which group belongs makes it more likely that boys will underachieve. Okay. So, there's been some research on this. Okay. Or that girls will not do as well in math. Okay. Actually, that they've done research on this, when it comes to race and gender. Okay. Differences in parental involvement. Parents tend to be involved with boys' school activities and more involved with girls' home activities, but over time, involvement with boys declines, but with girls it stays constant. So as parents go along in raising boys, their involvement in school activities becomes less and less. Okay, and it stays, but this stays the same with girls. Okay. High school and college. Oh, I have it coming in that way. Okay. Okay. In 1960, 65% of bachelor degrees went to men. In 2005, 57% went to women. So women are more likely to obtain a bachelor's degree than men. Okay. The high school dropout rate. Males have a higher dropout rate. In 2009, about 9% of males aged 16 to 24 were high school dropouts compared to 7% of females, and I think that still holds. Okay. Males are also more likely to delay enrolling in college, and this shapes success. Okay, so they're less likely to go right from high school to college. Okay. Women are more likely to attend college. In 1970, 58% of college students were men, and in 2010, 57% of all students in degree-granting institutions were women. So that's, you have more women in college. What else? In 1940, let's see, women have better, no, I skipped that. Women have better college completion rates too. 77% of women and 68% of men who only attended a 4-year college obtained a bachelor's degree. 47% of females and 39% of males who ever spent time at a community college completed a bachelor's degree. Okay, and this also breaks down, okay, by race. Okay, so the percentage of women who earn a bachelor's degree by race, it's 66% for black women. Black men never led black women in college completion rates, by the way. For Hispanics, it's 61%. For Native Americans, 60%. For whites, it's 56%. And for Asians, I don't know if that gets on the slide there, 55%. Okay, well, that's what it is. It's 55%. Okay. More. Okay, in 1969 to 1970, men earned 61% of bachelor's degrees compared to 92,481 women. So, yeah, those bachelor's degrees, men earned 143,083 master's degrees. In 2009 to 10, women earned a bunch more. They earned 60% of master's degrees compared to compared to 40% of men. Okay, so in doctoral and professional degrees, women have made advances too. You can look at this graph here in law, medical degrees, and dental degrees. Okay, so, and since 2005, it's even gotten, there's even more women getting, say, medical degrees. I think it's now over 50%. Okay, so, yeah, this is between, yeah, so, let's see. Where else am I? In 1970, men earned 89% of doctoral degrees, and women earned, yeah. And in 2010, women earned 52% of doctoral degrees. Okay. So what explains this change going on here? Okay. First of all, we've got individual factors. Some people say it's because of the vulnerability of boys whose fathers are less educated or absent, so a lack of a male role model. So if your father didn't go to college or your father's not around, and if you're a boy, you're most likely to do that. Not sure if that's the case, but that's in the literature. Okay. In terms of academic performance, women and girls do better at all levels. Why is this? Okay, first of all, there's male underperformance. Boys who engage in extracurricular activities like art, drama, music, and foreign languages are more similar to girls in academic performance, but other boys denigrate these activities as feminine. So part of doing well in school, and things like that is stigmatized in the construction of masculinity. So, but this varies by social class. Working class and poor men are more likely to see masculinity modeled as manual labor, team sports, hunting and fishing, and etc., and are more likely to disengage from school. Okay. Women have also higher wage returns when completing a bachelor's degree. They are more likely to see the benefit with a college education than men. Okay. So they're more likely to say, yes, I will do a lot better if I get a bachelor's degree. Men, not so much. Okay. In terms of institutional factors, first of all, changing gender attitudes concerning the life course for women. Let's see. Part of the feminist movement, to say and just changing gender attitudes about what women are supposed to do in their lives. The shifts in the labor market and the family. Okay, so there's more high status careers that are open to women that weren't available before. The eroding opportunities for men in middle class jobs led them to service sector jobs. Okay. So like the transition from a manufacturing economy to a service economy. Okay. So, with this shift here, women adapted to the changing economic structure by going into high status careers, but men did not adapt. Okay. So, and that's really hard to know why. It's unclear why men did not just decide to go, like when the shifts in the economy into a service economy, women then said, okay, I'm going to go to college. And then because that's my way to upward mobility. But men instead just stayed and, went from manufacturing jobs to service jobs, that pay lower rather than going to college. Okay. Women then adapted to the changing economic structure, and men did not. The expansion of birth control, too, allowed women to control their fertility. Okay. This gets into other aspects later, that one thing that happens with middle class women is that I may have talked about this before, that if they, say go to college, get settled in their career, and things like that, and then decide, okay, now's the time to have children, that sometimes the biological clock has like ticked out, and then women then cannot, have children. So that's been more of a thing too. Also, one of the reasons why women having less children. So, um, why else? The expansion of educational institutions, including community colleges, is another reason why. Um, the military might compete with college as an opportunity for men. There's a greater likelihood that young men will serve in the military is perhaps a reason. So 85% of those on active duty are men, and those who serve in the military are less likely to go to college. So, what about incarceration? Okay, incarceration. What difference does that make? It's true for black men. There are so many black men in prison that can explain some of the education gap there about like college completion between black men and black women. However, those at the bottom of the educational rungs, okay, not a high school graduate or poor grades, okay, might not have attended college anyway. So that's part of that. Now, policymakers have some recommendations here about getting rid of the gender-related barriers. First of all, lay down strong academic foundations in elementary and middle school that undergird success in high school and college. So here's the deal. It's like sometimes what happens is like men don't do as well in college because they didn't do as well in high school because they didn't do as well in primary school. Okay, so it has to start in the elementary and middle schools that undergird success for in high school and college. Pathways from high school to college to well-paying jobs so students can have a plan. Okay, so, that's in the literature and it's fine and everything. There's, sometimes though, college I think is a time for exploration. So, actually you do need to have some kind of plan, even if your plan is no plan, if that makes sense. Okay, that's how I heard a lecturer talk about it once. This is a big thing, and it's becoming, harder. Make higher education affordable so students won't be discouraged. How many of you have looked at the cost of college and said, how am I going to pay for that? So, okay. So that's some basics with the with education and gender, and then here's a few things about education and science, and I want to talk about women in STEM a little bit. And your video this week will be about women in STEM. Okay, there's a big gap in the STEM fields, very much related to education. Okay, this comes from David Beda et al. Women in STEM, a gender gap to innovation. Okay, although women fill close to half of the jobs in the economy, they hold less than 25% of STEM jobs. Okay, that might have changed a little bit in very recent years, but it's about that. Okay, this has been the case throughout the past decade, even as college-educated women have increased their share of the overall workforce. Okay. Women in STEM jobs earned 33% more than comparable women in non-STEM jobs, considerably higher than the STEM premium for men. As a result, the gender wage gap is smaller in STEM jobs than non-STEM jobs. Okay, so so women in STEM, once you make it to STEM, do pretty well. Okay, there's a lot of other things about STEM that's like really has a lot of things on gender discrimination, but I'm not going to get there this quarter. But there are some things I want to talk about later. Okay. Women hold a disproportionately low share of STEM undergraduate degrees, particularly in engineering. Okay. Um, yes. Um, what else? Women with a STEM degree are less likely than their male counterparts to work in a STEM occupation. Okay. Um, they are more likely to work in education or healthcare. Okay. There are many possible factors contributing to the discrepancy of women in STEM jobs, including lack of female role models, gender stereotyping, less family friendly flexibility in the STEM fields. Regardless of the cause, the findings of the report by Bede et al. Provide evidence of a need to encourage and support women in STEM. So that's why you may have heard, like, people, it's almost a social movement um, to um, to talk about this. So your video is called Big Dream. I think it's called Big Dream. Is it? Yeah. I just watched it again, and it's pretty. There's some good things about it. So watch that, respond to it, and things like this. But the main takeaway here, I want you to think about, is that in all these social institutions, women face discrimination, but in education, they seem to be doing better than they used to, and they seem to be, doing. They seem to be doing better than they used to, and in some ways outperforming men. Why? Why? What is it about education that has like allowed for this to happen? Okay, so this is just a 22-minute video today. So and then, but get ready for the next two videos. Are going to be, um, you know, going to be longer, I bet. Okay, so that's all for today. Have a great week, and I'll see you online. Bye.